All right, snack fans, ready for a deep dive into something crunchy, salty, and totally irresistible.
Sounds delicious.
We're talking about potato chips, but have you ever stopped to think,
About?
like, who we can thank for this awesome snack? Somebody had to invent it, right?
Yeah, totally.
Well, we've got some sources to help us unravel this mystery, a YouTube video and an article.
Interesting.
And get this, they both tell different stories about how the potato chip came to be.
Oh, so we've got a little mister on our hand.
Exactly, a potato chip puzzle, and it all seems to center around one family.
So it's a family affair.
Yeah, kind of like a potato chip dynasty. Okay, so the YouTube video tells the popular story of George Crum.
Crum.
Yeah, George Crum Speck, he was a chef, and apparently the potato chip was born from like a little bit of revenge.
Oh, revenge now we're talking.
I know, right? So the story goes that Crum was like this super talented chef cooking for all these rich and famous people.
Like, who are we talking?
Well, even the Vanderbilts, like super high society.
Wow, so this guy was the real deal.
Oh yeah, top-notch chef. But one day he gets this customer who keeps sending back their French fries.
What was wrong with the fries?
This customer complained they weren't thin enough, just kept sending them back.
Oh, picky eater.
Total picky eater. So Crum, being a master chef, decides, okay, I'll show you a thing.
Uh-oh.
He slices the potatoes, paper-thin, fries them to a perfect crisp, and boom.
The potato chip is born.
You got it. That's the story, or at least that's the popular version. But there's a twist. The video also mentions Crum's sister.
He had a sister.
Yeah, her name was Catherine, or Kate Speck Wicks, and she claimed that she was the true inventor of the potato chip.
Hold on, so now we've got sibling rivalry in the mix.
I know, right? This is getting good.
So what's her side of the story?
Well, according to the video, Catherine's obituary tells a totally different tale.
An obituary?
Yeah, like the story they told about her life when she passed away, and in it, they say that she was making crullers.
Crullers? I'm not familiar.
They're kind of like donuts, you know, those twisty fried dough treats.
Okay, I know what you mean.
So she's making these crullers and accidentally drops a potato slice into the hot fat.
Oh, that's gotta be a bummer.
You'd think so, right? But she's like, And that, my friends, is how the potato chip was supposedly born.
From a mistake.
Exactly. A happy little accident, or so she claimed. So now we have two possible inventors, both from the same family and two very different stories.
And that's where the article comes in.
The article suggests that maybe we'll never know for sure who really invented the potato chip.
It could be a case for the history detectives.
I love that, but it gets even better because the article throws even more possible inventors into the mix.
More? Come on. How many people can we credit with the potato chip?
Right. It mentions this guy named Peter Francis. He was George and Catherine's brother-in-law.
So another family member.
Yep. And get this, he was also a cook trained by a French chef, no less. And he worked with George and Catherine in the kitchen.
So maybe it wasn't just one person's brilliant idea. Maybe it was a team effort.
Like a potato chip dream team.
Yeah, exactly.
The article dives a bit deeper into Catherine's story, too, mentioning that she was experimenting with different types of crullers when she supposedly made the first chip.
So maybe her experience with frying dough for crullers gave her some insight into how to fry a potato slice perfectly.
You know what? That's a great point. It's like those crispy little ridges on some chips. Maybe those came from her cruller experiments.
Interesting. So sometimes culinary innovations happen by design and sometimes totally by accident.
Right. It's like that saying, necessity is the mother of invention, or in this case, maybe a hungry stomach at a hot fryer.
I like it. Oh, we can't forget about George. The article mentions he was a pretty famous chef, too.
Oh, yeah, he served presidents and all sorts of important people at his restaurant.
High roller.
For sure. And here's the kicker. While he was alive, George never disputed his sister's claim to the potato chip invention.
So maybe he knew she played a big part of the process, even if his name was more widely associated with the chip.
It's like he was giving her credit behind the scenes.
That's really cool.
So you see, there's more to this story than just a chef getting annoyed with a picky customer.
Way more. It's a whole family saga.
A potato chip dynasty with a side of mystery.
I'm hooked. Let's keep digging.
You got it. We're just getting started.
Yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it? Like, there's always more to the story.
Totally. And in this case, it might involve the whole family of, like, culinary geniuses.
Right, a potato chip dynasty, but the article throws in another twist.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, it mentions this guy Harvey Noss, the founder of the Snack Food Trade Association.
Okay.
And apparently he was the one who really pushed the story about George creating the chip out of spite.
Really? So you're saying it might not even be true?
Well, the article suggests it could have just been like a clever marketing tactic, you know?
To make the potato chip more interesting.
Exactly, like a more dramatic origin story.
Makes sense. People love a good story.
For sure, and it reminds us to be critical thinkers, you know, not just believe everything we hear.
Yeah, like question the stories and dig a little deeper.
Right, because sometimes the truth is more complicated.
And more interesting.
Exactly, but even if we don't know for sure who invented the potato chip, we can still appreciate how creative they were.
Absolutely. And those early potato chips, they really took off.
They did.
The article mentions they were first known as Saratoga chips.
Saratoga chips?
Yeah, because they were super popular in Saratoga Springs, New York.
So from a small town to the world?
It's amazing, right? Like now you can find potato chips everywhere.
So many different flavors and varieties.
It's mind-boggling, and to think it all started with someone just experimenting with potatoes and a fryer.
It really shows you the power of food, right? Like how something simple can become something everyone loves.
Totally. Okay, so maybe we'll never know for sure who invented the potato chip,
Maybe not.
but I think we can all agree that the Speck family played a huge role.
Definitely George with his fancy restaurant, and Catherine with her accidental discovery, and maybe even Peter with his French training.
It's like a delicious historical puzzle.
I love that. And, sometimes it's okay not to have all the pieces.
Right, the mystery makes it more fun.
But what do you think, listeners, was it George, Catherine, Peter, or maybe all of them working together?
Maybe it wasn't one big aha moment, but like a bunch of little steps and experiments.
Yeah, a family who just loved good food and trying new things.
And look where it got us, potato chips.
It makes me think about all the other things we take for granted, right? Like, what are their stories?
Exactly. Everything has a history, even a bag of chips.
And who knows, maybe there's a future potato chip inventor out there right now.
Just waiting to be discovered.
Maybe they're in their kitchen right now experimenting with new flavors.
Dreaming of the next big snack sensation.
What a thought.
So next time you reach for a bag of chips, think about George and Catherine and their family.
And their happy accident that changed the world of snacking.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this crunchy deep dive, everyone. You know what I've been thinking this whole time?
What's that?
If you could invent a brand new potato chip flavor, what would it be?
Wow, that's a tough one. There are already so many out there.
I know, right? But that's what makes it fun. Let your imagination run wild.
Okay. I'm thinking...
I'm thinking something sweet and savory, like maybe brown sugar and sea salt.
Ooh, dude, that's a good one. I like where your head's at.
Right? Gotta have that salty-sweet combo.
But for me, I think I'd go a little more adventurous, like spicy, maybe a mango habanero.
Ooh, that sounds delicious and a little dangerous.
Yeah, like a mango habanero madness chips.
I love it. See, it's all about creativity, just like the Speck family. Maybe we could stumble upon the next big potato chip flavor.
With a little experimentation.
Exactly. And maybe our listeners will be inspired to try something new in their own kitchens. You never know. There might be a future potato chip inventor listening right now.
It could happen. This deep dive has been a journey through history, but also a reminder that anyone can be an innovator.
So true. It's all about curiosity, a little bit of experimentation, and maybe even a happy accident or two.
And remember, even if your first batch of chips doesn't turn out perfect, don't give up. The Speck family's story shows us that sometimes the best discoveries come from unexpected places.
Couldn't agree more. So the next time you reach for a bag of chips, remember George and Catherine and their family, and the accidental invention that changed snacking forever. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be talking about your amazing potato chip creation right here on The Deep Dive.
That's right. Keep experimenting and keep snacking.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this crunchy adventure, everyone. We'll catch you next time for another fascinating deep dive into the unknown.